In the frozen heart of a remote mountain range, where the wind whispers secrets through the snow, a group of friends embarked on an adventure that would end in unimaginable tragedy. What began as a thrilling expedition turned into a puzzle that has baffled the world for decades. Tonight, we unravel the threads of this enigma, layer by layer, in the quiet of the night. Welcome to True Crime Sleep Stories, the podcast where we blend the intrigue of real mysteries with the soothing rhythm of bedtime tales. I'm your host, Kelly Brink, here to guide you through stories that linger in the shadows of history, helping you drift into peaceful slumber. If you're enjoying our episodes, be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And if these tales have brought you a moment of calm amidst the chaos, please leave us a 5-star review. Your support helps us bring more of these whispered wonders to life. Now settle in, dim the lights, and let the story begin. Our story takes us back to the winter of 1959 in the vast, unforgiving expanse of the Soviet Union. It was a time when the Cold War cast long shadows over the world and adventure called to the young and bold. In the city of Sverdlovsk, now known as Yekaterinburg, a group of students and graduates from the Ural Polytechnical Institute dreamed of conquering the wild. They were hikers, skiers, and explorers at heart, united by their love for the outdoors and the thrill of pushing human limits. Leading the group was Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student with a reputation for meticulous planning and unyielding determination. Igor was the kind of person who inspired confidence. His friends trusted him implicitly. Alongside him was Zinaida Kolmogorova, or Zina, a vibrant 22-year-old known for her infectious energy and diary entries that captured the joy of their journeys. Then there was Lyudmila Dubinina Lyuda, also 22, a strong-willed economics student with a passion for photography. Rustem Slobodin, 23, an engineer with a gentle demeanor. Yuri Krivonishenko, 23, nicknamed Georgi, a fun-loving soul who played the mandolin to lift spirits around the campfire. And Yuri Doroshenko, 21, another Yuri, full of youthful exuberance. The group was rounded out by Alexander Kolovatov, 24, a nuclear physics student with a quiet intensity, Nikolai Thibault Brignol, 23, a civil engineering graduate fondly called Kolya, and Semyon Zolotaryov, the oldest at 38, a war veteran and ski instructor who joined the expedition at the last minute, bringing experience and a mysterious aura. Semyon, sometimes called Sasha, had survived the horrors of World War II and carried tattoos that hinted at a life full of untold stories. These 9 friends, 8 men and 2 women, were no strangers to hardship. They had trekked through blizzards and scaled peaks before, earning certifications that marked them as elite hikers in the Soviet system. Their goal this time was ambitious: a 300-kilometer ski tour through the northern Ural Mountains, aiming for the summit of Otterten Mountain. It was a Category 3 expedition, the highest difficulty level, requiring skill, endurance, and a bit of luck with the weather. They set off on January 25, 1959, from the village of Vizhai, their packs laden with supplies, cameras, and journals to document every step. As they ventured deeper into the wilderness, the group sent postcards and telegrams back home, assuring loved ones of their progress. "All is well," they wrote. Photos from their cameras show them smiling, building snowmen, and sharing meals. One entry in the group diary reads, "The weather is fine, the mood is high. But the Urals are a treacherous place where temperatures can plummet to minus 30 degrees Celsius and winds howl like restless spirits." The local Mansi people, indigenous to the region, called the area around Otorten the Mountain of the Dead, a name steeped in folklore of ancient curses and forbidden grounds. The hikers dismissed such tales as superstition, focusing instead on their maps and compasses. On January 31st, they reached the edge of the tree line and began ascending the slopes of Kholat Syahol, another peak ominously translated as Dead Mountain. Here, the landscape was barren, exposed to the elements. They pitched their tent on a gentle slope, digging into the snow for stability. It was a large homemade tent, sewn together from two smaller ones, capable of sheltering all 9 in relative warmth. As night fell, they settled in, perhaps sharing stories or songs before sleep. What happened next remains one of the greatest mysteries of the 20th century. When the group failed to send a telegram from their planned return point on February 12th, concern began to mount. Friends and family alerted authorities, and a search party was organized. Students from the institute volunteered, joined by military personnel and local experts. Helicopters scanned the vast white expanse, but the mountains guarded their secrets well. It wasn't until February 26th that rescuers spotted the tent from the air. Descending on foot, they approached with growing dread. The tent stood partially buried in snow, its fabric taut against the wind, but something was terribly wrong. The entrance was closed, yet a large gash had been cut from the inside, as if the occupants had slashed their way out in desperation. Peering through the tear, searchers found the hikers' belongings scattered but intact. Coats, boots, food rations, even a stove half assembled for dinner. It was as though the group had fled in panic, abandoning warmth and safety for the freezing night. Footprints, 9 sets, some in socks, others barefoot, led down the slope toward a dense forest about 1 kilometer away. The prints showed no signs of struggle or pursuit. They were orderly at first, then faded into the snow. Following the trail, the rescuers reached a tall cedar tree at the forest's edge. Here, they made their first grim discovery: the bodies of Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonishenko lying side by side under the branches. Both were dressed only in underwear, their skin burned in places, as if they had desperately tried to start a fire. Broken branches up to 5 meters high suggested they had climbed the tree, perhaps to escape something or to gain a vantage point. Nearby, embers from a small fire smoldered, but it hadn't been enough to save them. Autopsies later revealed they had died of hypothermia, their bodies frozen in the minus 25-degree cold. Further along the path back toward the tent, the searchers found Igor Dyatlov face down in the snow, one hand clutching a birch branch as if for support. He too had succumbed to the cold, his body showing minor scratches and bruises. Not far away lay Zina Kolmogorova, on her side, as if crawling back to the tent. Her face was bloodied, perhaps from a fall, and then Rustam Slobodin discovered under a thin layer of snow with a fractured skull. But the injury wasn't fatal. Hypothermia had claimed him as well. These 5 bodies found in the initial search painted a picture of terror. The group had left the tent abruptly, braved the deadly cold half-dressed, built a fire, and then attempted to return, only to perish one by one. But where were the other 4? The search continued into March and April, hampered by thawing snow and avalanches. Finally, on May 4th, under 4 meters of snow in a ravine about 75 meters from the cedar tree, the remaining bodies were unearthed. Lyudmila Dubinina, Alexander Kolovatov, Nikolai Thibaut Brignol, and Semyon Zolotaryov. These discoveries deepened the mystery. The 4 had apparently dug a snow den in the ravine, lining it with branches and clothing for insulation. But their injuries were catastrophic, far beyond what hypothermia alone could explain. Nikolai had a crushed skull. Semyon suffered multiple broken ribs and internal bleeding, and Lyudmila's chest was caved in, with fractures comparable to being hit by a speeding truck. Most disturbingly, Lyudmila was missing her tongue, eyes, and part of her lips, though whether from decomposition, animals, or something else remained unclear. Alexander, found embracing Lyudmila, had less severe injuries but still bore signs of trauma. Forensic examinations revealed no external wounds that could account for the internal devastation. It was as if an immense force had struck them without breaking the skin. Stranger still, some of the clothing on these bodies tested positive for low levels of radiation, unusual for civilians, though Semyon and Alexander had worked in nuclear-related fields. The hikers' cameras yielded eerie photos, blurred images of lights in the sky, a figure in the distance that some claim resembles a yeti, and the group's last shot of pitching the tent in fading light. The official investigation, led by prosecutor Lev Ivanov, was swift and secretive. In May 1959, just 3 months after the bodies were found, the case was closed. The conclusion, death due to an unknown compelling force that overwhelmed the hikers. Families were denied full access to files, and rumors swirled of a cover-up. Why had the tent been cut from inside? Why flee without shoes into certain death? And what caused those crushing injuries? As the years passed, theories proliferated, each more intriguing than the last. Let's explore them gently, like turning pages in a forgotten book, allowing the possibilities to wash over you as you relax. One of the most straightforward explanations is a natural disaster, an avalanche. In 2019, Swiss researchers Johann Gaume and Alexander Puzrin proposed a slab avalanche theory. They suggested that strong katabatic winds deposited a heavy snow slab on the slope above the tent. When it broke loose, it could have partially buried the tent, causing panic. Fearing a larger slide, the hikers cut their way out and fled downslope. The injuries, perhaps from the initial impact or falls in the dark. This theory gained traction when Russian authorities reopened the case in 2019 and concluded avalanche in 2021. But critics point out the slope was only 15 to 20 degrees, too shallow for most avalanches, and no debris field was found around the tent. Plus, why not use the entrance flap instead of slashing the canvas? Another scientific angle involves infrasound. winds whipping around the mountain's dome shape could generate low-frequency sounds, inaudible but capable of inducing anxiety, nausea, and hallucinations. This panic wind might have driven the group mad, compelling them to escape the tent. Studies on infrasound effects support this, linking it to feelings of dread in haunted places. Imagine lying there, the hum building in your chest, convincing you that danger lurks just outside. Then there are the supernatural theories, whispered in the dark. The Mansi people spoke of Menk, a Yeti-like creature that guards the mountains. A photo from the hiker's camera shows a tall, shadowy figure amid the trees. Could it be a hoax or evidence? Some claim footprints larger than human were found near the site, though unverified. Or perhaps ancient spirits angered by intruders on sacred land. Kholat Syachl's name derives from a legend of 9 Mansi hunters who perished there, mirroring the hiker's fate. Coincidence or a curse echoing through time? Conspiracy theories add layers of intrigue. The Soviet era was rife with secrets. Could military tests be to blame? Witnesses reported orange spheres in the sky, possibly missile launches from nearby bases. A failed rocket might have exploded, releasing radiation and a shock wave that injured the group. Semyon Zolotaryov's presence fuels speculation. As a veteran with possible KGB ties, was he a plant? His camera, found around his neck, was missing film. And why was his body exhumed in 2018, revealing metal fragments? Some theorize a cleanup operation. The hikers stumbled upon a secret test, were silenced, and the scene staged. Another chilling idea, paradoxical undressing, and the third man factor. In severe hypothermia, victims often feel overheating and strip clothes, explaining the underdressed bodies. The fire and tree climbing suggest attempts to survive, while the ravine group might have been hit by a snowslide there. But the missing tongue? Soft tissues decompose first in water from melting snow, or scavengers could be responsible. Yet Lyudmila's mouth was full of blood, hinting at trauma while alive. Declassified files in the 1990s revealed more. Ivanov believed in energy spheres or UFOs pressured to suppress findings. A similar incident in 1990, where hikers saw lights and felt ill, adds credence. Books like Donnie Eikar's Dead Mountain and documentaries have kept the case alive, with forums buzzing with debates. As we ponder these possibilities, remember, no theory fully explains everything. The radiation, the lights, the injuries, the panic, all pieces of a puzzle scattered in the snow. Perhaps it was a perfect storm, wind, cold, fear amplifying into tragedy, or maybe something more profound, a reminder of nature's indifference and humanity's fragility. And so, dear listener, we leave the slopes of Dead Mountain, where echoes of that fateful night still linger. If this tale has stirred your imagination or eased you toward sleep, thank you for joining us on True Crime Sleep Stories. Remember to subscribe and leave that 5-star review. It means the world. Until next time, may your dreams be peaceful, your mysteries solved in slumber. Good night.